all. Is this good? The sound? Okay. We're supposed to do this without any paper in your hands, but I was rewriting this till 1 o'clock in the morning, so the paper's in my hand, you guys. I'm sorry, I can't give it up. I was born in St. Louis, Missouri, and I want to tell you about some memories, food memories that come from that location and other locations. So it was 1968. It was the last year that my family would be whole and entire in our home in St. Louis. My brothers would go off to college after that point. 1968 was also the year of student riots in Poland, in Paris, in London, and in New York. And 1968 was the summer that I learned to love asparagus. As I said, I was born in St. Louis, Missouri. I was raised in a ranch, a colonial ranch house that was built the year I was built on 5 acres of flat lawn, not a vegetable garden. Gardening in my childhood was going with my mom to the garden center and picking out the color of plastic geraniums that were going to live in the pot in our patio for the rest of the summer. My favorite dinner growing up was the classic Midwestern meal, tuna fish casserole. All families make it differently. My family built their tuna fish casserole with tuna fish, rice, peas, Campbell's, that mushroom soup, that gelatinous stuff that's the basis of all Midwestern meals. And then on top, and this is what really set us apart, was crumpled potato chips on top. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. This was my favorite meal. This was the meal I requested at my birthday dinners when I can ask for a special meal. My second favorite meal was Morton's chicken pot pie. And this was only on Sunday nights. Mom was given the night off from cooking on Sunday nights. We put the TV trays downstairs in the family room, and we could have TV dinners or chicken pot pie. And I always went for the chicken pot pie. It was a special memory in my, and I guess it was probably blended because also it was Mom's night off and kind of special. And we could watch Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom, right? And the Wild Wonderful World of Disney, was that what it was called? Yeah. So very, very special memories around that particular Midwestern food group. In 1968, my brothers, Skip and Steve, would start heading off to college, as I was saying. But the memory from that summer is one that comes from my mother. As soon as asparagus appeared in the stores in the springtime, she was buying it. And we were served asparagus that summer every night until she could no longer access asparagus in the stores. I hated asparagus. My brothers hated asparagus. But in the Dassler household, if you were served a vegetable, you had to eat the vegetable or you couldn't have dessert. So we ate our asparagus. In the fall, when my brother Skip went off to college and school was starting up for me, we had suffered asparagus so long that I now liked asparagus. So it was our own revolution of a type. In Paris and London and New York, students had been protesting all summer, but in the Dassler household, we suffered asparagus. Now we're going to fast forward a little bit, and my parents are divorced, and my mother has died of, or has just died of cancer at this memory. My brother and I were with her as her spirit left her body, and it was really a good thing. She needed to get out of that body. And as soon as she left, it was about 1 a.m. on April Fool's, we poured glasses of her favorite wine, which was Almond Chablis, and put on some Glen Miller, called the funeral home guys to take her away, and we started dancing and laughing and giggling and telling stories about her. And when the guys from the funeral parlor came in, they did not know what to do with us because we were so happy. But one of the memories that we were talking about as we were dancing was the summer of 1968, the summer of asparagus, and what had gone on. And as we danced, we sort of worked out the math, and we came to the conclusion my mom was in menopause in the summer of 1968, and asparagus got her through that. So yay for asparagus. Now we're going to fast forward even more. I'm out of high school and the Midwest, I'm out of college, and I'm out of the country. I'm now working for a crazy Swiss mime troupe, and we're based in Zurich, but at this moment we're in Florence performing for a month or so. I have a couple days off. I head over to the coast. I want to see this beautiful area called Cinque Terre that I've heard so much about. I find a pensione in the northernmost of the 5 little towns that make up Cinque Terre, and I head out on a little walk before dinner. And I'm in this beautiful terraced olive grove, and you're overlooking the Mediterranean. It is just stunningly beautiful. But there's this gaggle of sort of Italian tourists in front of me, all excited about something. And so I walk up to them, and they are holding something green in their hands. They have been foraging wild asparagus. I had never seen wild asparagus. So they show me where it was and what it looked like. It was all around us. It looks like the asparagus that's in doctor's offices or sometimes in bars. It's not like the asparagus we have in our gardens. And they welcome me to forage respectfully and get enough asparagus for a decent meal and take it to any restaurant. They said, any restaurant, and they will cook it for you. I was stunned at that. But I foraged my asparagus and headed back into Monte Rosso. Found a very, very simple restaurant. The waiter came up. I handed him my foraged treasure and explained that I would like some risotto. And he didn't blink an eye. Walked off, it disappeared, and 20 minutes later, the most perfect bowl of risotto asparagus was presented to me, made from the asparagus that I had foraged myself. It was fabulous. Can you imagine that in this country? That is a revolution in itself, to have that happen in this country, as it did in Italy for me. So, now, when I turned 16, not when I turned 16, but when I was 16, I became a vegetarian. I'm now 61 years old, and I'm still a vegetarian. Every now and then I think I'm gonna miss tuna fish casserole, and I don't do anything about it. But in the wintertime, sometimes I really do miss Morton's chicken pot pie. So I know to go to the Sundays at Moosewood Cookbook, and there's a fabulous vegetable pot pie in there, and it tastes almost like Morton's chicken pot pie. So I head to that. I now live in Bolsters Mills. I'm no longer traveling with my Swiss theater company. I've lived here for 25 years. I live in a little house that Nathaniel Hawthorne's childhood friend lived in on 2/3 of an acre. I have a large perennial garden that is really nice for 1 week of the summer. And it was about 10 days ago. So you guys are all invited, but you don't need to come till next year, okay? I have a very small vegetable garden that I share with a succession of groundhogs. So in my garden, I get to eat, this is the deal. I get the mint, the rhubarb, the garlic, the shallots, the onions. They get all of the seedlings that I plant. I keep on planting them every year, and they get all of them. But the main thing that I get, and this is why it's sort of symbiotic and sort of works out between the groundhogs and myself, is that I get all of my asparagus with all of that nutrition and all of the wonderful memories. So, thanks, Mom.